Hi there, Christine. So this is our third time meeting. So from the last time that we have met, what have you been up to? What has been going through your head? What's been on your mind?
Well, I've been pretty busy lately. Um, my husband has a lot of free time, so um, I try to fit him in when I can, I guess. Um, yeah.
And how much time does he spend usually a week, you'd say, with all of his football activities? You said that he is a grad assistant now.
Right. Well, he has a month off right now.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then once football season starts, he's busy from like 6 a.m. to like 11 p.m. Pretty busy.
So how much time do you, or have you even had that time to really see how much time you two are able to spend together?
This summer, it's good. I mean, we see each other. I do homework and he's sitting on the couch watching TV, so that's
Awesome.
kind of spending time together.
So what kind of functions do you have with all the football activities right now? Do you have many functions, or is that something that's going to happen more?
Right now, it's just like cookouts at people's houses. Maybe go to somebody's house, hang out in the basement, eat food, things like that.
Well, that sounds like fun. And have you had any of those kind of situations recently that you remember? So I don't remember this being something that we talked about before.
Yeah, there was one recently, and I just really felt like, I don't know, I just get really worried before I go. And I think it's just, I guess, comparing myself to their wives, and their husbands have been doing this for 20 years. They can
Right.
make $500,000 a year, and we make very little. So, like, I don't know, I just compare myself to them and worry about what if I say the wrong thing, what if I wear the wrong thing, what if I'm in athletic shorts and they're in dress and heels. I really worry about that, and I guess how that affects David's job. I don't know, I just put a lot of pressure on myself and get really anxious before those events and worry more than I should.
How much would you say the pressure is generally at these kind of events? Do you feel like this is something that is consistent, or is this something that's just started to get really severe for you recently?
Like when we're at the events, it's usually very a relaxed environment, but I've still put the pressure on myself, and I guess I felt like this. I guess I've been just ever since he's been here at Mizzou.
So this is definitely a different kind of beast compared to the other kind of colleges that you've been at before.
Yeah, we've been at little NAIA schools, which is pretty much the lowest level.
Right.
And it's just like everyday people there, which they are here too, but it's just a lot different.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do today, hopefully as long as it's something that you're okay with, we're going to use cognitive behavioral therapy, which is really a way to think about those thoughts that you're having. It seems that this particular situation has brought out some certain thoughts about yourself. So what we're going to use for this, if you're okay with it, is a thought record, which I'm going to show you right here. I'm going to have you fill out. And with a thought record, we're going to look at your situation that we just talked about, and I'm going to have you fill that out. And then we're going to start looking at your automatic thoughts, which automatic thoughts are a way that it's really our underlying thoughts about ourselves instead of the thoughts about the other people around you. So we're going to talk about those, and then we'll start going into the feelings that really provides to you. And then hopefully we can, at the end, kind of look at some ways that we can look at different thoughts about ourselves and the people surrounding us in the ways that we don't feel that way. And then hopefully we can use this to really change those thoughts when you're in these situations again, because obviously the pressure is not something that's going to go away over time. So, is that something that you're okay with doing? Okay. So, what I'm going to do is give you this. So, on that first column over there, when we're looking at the situation, what would you say that the situation for you would be in this situation?
I guess anxiety going into these high society social events.
So, you would say that the situation for you would be the the social situations
Okay,
with
yeah.
the football team. Okay, so write that down there.
By yourself.
And these are social outings that you have
By yourself.
frequently, or is it just every once in a while?
Every once in a while.
But you definitely will have to have them again because obviously your husband's going to want to obviously try to move up and not just stay in the position he has and hopefully find a job after this. So it's going to be something that you're going to deal with again.
For years.
Yes. Never stopping. So, what would you say you're talking about earlier that you feel like you have to wear something similar to what these other wives are wearing and be something that, stand out to a lot of the other football coaches and their wives and not feel like you're a burden to your husband, and that's something that you're obviously that you look good is obviously something that you feel like you have to do because everyone else is dressing in a certain way. So what would you say is that underlying thought that you're putting on yourself when you're in these situations? So maybe something like that, either that you don't have value, or you're not at a level you're not good enough compared to all these other people. So I guess that would be a good thing to write down, that your mind, either that don't feel like you have value, or you're not good enough in these situations. Either one that's more comfortable to you. And in these situations, how does that make you feel when you're having these thoughts in your head? What are some kind of different emotions that are going through your head when you are dealing with these high pressure social situations? So anxious, that would be a good one.
Feel frustrated with myself for thinking this way.
Right.
I feel like I'm normally very confident.
Yeah.
And I'm not in this setting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think frustration is a good one. Would you say that you ever feel angry at yourself in these situations, or do you think it's more just frustration, or do you think there's other feelings too that you're going through?
I'm angry with myself. Yeah, that one. I was like so nervous that I was just awkward in this conversation, and I was just like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Why,
Yeah, so you could put angry down. That would be another good one. Any other feelings that you can think of that might pertain to these situations? It's okay if there aren't any. So that's a pretty good list to start off with.
I don't know if feeling pressure is an emotion, but
I think pressure is something we could write down there too, because that really will go with all of the other feelings that you have above there. That pressure might be something that's leading to all those things. Okay, so we have a good list. So we have anxious, we have frustration, anger, the high pressure. So from there, let's kind of turn the page to a different aspect and kind of look at maybe some things that kind of contradict these thoughts in your head. Because obviously this is something that's talking about a certain aspect of your life, the social situations. But what about some things that kind of give you the opposite feeling, make you feel maybe not proud, but happy or confident in yourself? What are different aspects of your life that you could say that you could think of and that would really make you feel that way? And we're going to put those in this adaptive responses section.
When David tells me I'm beautiful.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
And how long have you and David been married? I don't remember.
Almost 5 months.
Oh, wow. And everything has been good so far?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And do you both live in the same place here in Columbia? Awesome. How about anything else? Are there other, because obviously you might be a little bit removed now that you're new to Columbia. You might not have the social circles that you had before. But are there other people in your life other than David that help provide that to you as well?
Yeah.
What are some different groups?
Well, I guess used to.
Right.
Not really.
You're not as
around
connected
anymore.
anymore.
Um,
Are there any people maybe that when you are frustrated or you're anxious that you would call or you would talk to?
Yeah.
And who would those people be?
My bridesmaids.
Well, yeah, that would make sense.
Lauren, Hannah, Allie, Brittany.
So
my
you have
sister.
you have a good group of circle of people who
Yeah.
you can trust and rely on in these situations. Is family something that you would say would be a positive, or is it something that isn't as positive as other aspects of your life?
Some. I like my sister is one of my good friends.
Mm-hmm.
I think my sister kind of takes the role of my mom. I have a mom, but we're just not very close.
Not as close.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm also close with my dad, but I don't really like him.
Right. Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
Not that I feel like I can't. But I
Right.
just
It's just not something you do. How about anything else? Are there any other areas where you feel that make you feel maybe happy, confident, or you think, well, I'm looking pretty beautiful today? Like, are there other aspects of your life that you would say maybe is it either career moves that make you happy or confident?
Actually, that's been lowering my confidence lately, but lots of interviews, but no bites. So.
Right. So that could be another thing that we could talk about.
Yeah.
So that's a good start, and we'll go back to this probably in the future. And from there, can we think of maybe how we in these situations? What is something that you can kind of remind yourself and think about that kind of takes away these thoughts over here, where you're saying that I might not be good enough. I don't think I'm good enough. What does that make you feel when you have all these positives in your life?
Yeah.
Does it give you different thoughts that might be obviously more healthy for you?
Yeah. Well, David's a football coach, and he thinks I'm beautiful.
That's true, because that's a pretty high job here in Columbia. So yeah, it's not easy to get any of those positions, I would imagine.
And people love football here.
Right. It seems to be one of the biggest things here in Columbia. So maybe that could be something you could write over in the outcome is that one of the big people in Columbia thinks I'm a pretty great person.
I'll eat like 3 bites.
Married.
That's true. Even more than just thinking you're beautiful. And when you think about those kind of things, like this here, where do you think on a scale of, saying 0 to 10, do you feel like your automatic thought is still a thought that you would have in your head when you're thinking about these positives? Do you think it's still a really high thing, or do you think it kind of lowers that number?
Yeah, I think it.
So, like, when you're over here and you're thinking about, oh, I'm not good enough, obviously, like, you're believing this automatic thought. You're thinking, out of 0 out of 10, you say maybe like an 8 or 9 or 10 is, oh, I'm really feeling that thought here. But when you start thinking over here about some of these outcomes, where do you think that changes that automatic thought?
Well, that makes me feel good enough.
So you say it would definitely lower that number, so it's something that you could definitely think about, and then maybe it would take away some of those feelings. Okay, good. So I think this is something, if you're interested in it, that we could do in our future meetings. And I think for one of the things we could do before our next meeting, and hopefully we could meet a week from today, is that we could have you fill out this form at home. It's an easy little form we can just make, or you can have one that we can make for you. And then next week we can come in with some other situations maybe that have been happening. Jobs might be the next one. That
Lack of.
yeah, lack of jobs might be one. Right. So no job whatsoever. So maybe we'll just take a little practice one more time with that. So let's look at the job situation. So maybe the situation here is struggling maybe to secure one of those positions that would be really helpful for you, especially since the graduate assistant positions provide all kinds of benefits for you. So maybe put down struggling to secure a position at the moment. Desire. That's true. There are plenty of positions.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your situation over there, and how do you think that makes you feel about yourself when you have those situations?
That once again, I'm not good enough.
So it's another feeling of worthlessness, or
Yeah.
that you're not up to the challenge of some of the other people. So maybe you can really just use that, recycle that one. Maybe that you're not good enough, and put that there. And what kind of emotions does that bring out for you when you have had these interviews?
Well, it makes me think that I'll never get a job that I want, or like in my career.
And what kind of feelings does that bring out for you when you have that thought in your head? Hopeless. I think hopeless is an emotion you could put down there.
Frustrated.
Frustration.
Oh yeah.
Sad. Let down.
So kind of down about not having that.
Or disappointed.
Disappointed, I guess, would be a good one. Yeah. Okay, so that's it's a pretty good start of the list there. Are there any other feelings that you want to add on to that, or do you think that's good for now? Okay, so that's a good start. So we have some of these over here, so we can obviously use these again when we're thinking about the positive aspects that you have going on for you. Do you think there's anything we could add when it comes to jobs or careers, or some positives about yourself that you think that would be a good asset to people, or things that you think you're really good at when it comes to the careers that you're interested in, the jobs you're interested in?
One good, like my references, and which are supervisors and a lawyer that she was the kid's lawyer, I was the kid's case.
Yeah.
Like they have great things to say about me. So positive references.
Yeah, so people who have high positions are saying that you are very valuable. That's definitely one.
I have had a job in the past.
Yeah. So you've had a career job before that. And how long did you work in that job?
21 months.
Okay, so you did have it for an extended period of time. And did you leave that job because you had to go to another, moving on to the next chapter?
I didn't get fired.
Right, right. So you obviously did that job capably.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other things that you can think of as adaptive responses? Any responses that would take away that thought you have down here? What do you think?
I know the kids that I have worked with that I have made positive impacts.
So you've seen impacts in the students you've worked with, the kids that you've worked with.
Call it at 4 o'clock. Be like, okay, here's the problem. Call it 3:30. Problem.
So what kind of thoughts do you have after looking at those kind of things? What kind of thoughts do you have in your head about yourself?
that I'd want to hire me.
Right, that you are so you're an asset
Yeah.
to any future employer.
Yeah.
So obviously, if we look at this, this could definitely help you really change this thought over here. And last time we talked about the automatic thoughts and how confident you felt about the automatic thoughts. Do you feel like when we look over here that this lowers that number again over here?
Yes, I already feel better.
Awesome. So I think that's a good start for today. I think next time let's try to bring in some more because here's two good situations, and I'm sure obviously those are both providing some pressure in your life. And maybe there'll be some others in the next week that we can look at as well next week. So how about we have you fill that out for next week if that's something that you're interested in, and then next week we will meet and talk about how you were able to change some of those thoughts. Sound like a deal?
Sounds good.
All right. We will meet next week then. All right. See you then.
Bye.